Hello and good evening.
Hi.
And welcome to our latest video, which is the Heartstopper Season 2, Episodes 1 and 2 reaction video. So, unlike a lot of the Hearties, I'm not really one for watching entire seasons all in one day and leaving myself with nothing else to enjoy. So we sat earlier today and watched Episodes 1 and 2, and we decided to discuss our thoughts.
Make some notes as well.
So I thought this might be a good one to take through sort of character by character rather than just sort of diving into randomness. But just before we really crack on with the storylines, what was your overall view of the first two episodes?
Well, I'm going to be honest, I thought it was like very engaging, I thought it was very chill, it wasn't like too fast of a pace for like, obviously for like people who may or may not have seen it. Entering that, picking up from where I left off, it was really chill, it was calm.
I had very similar thoughts with regarding the pace of the show. I think that if you look at the first season, so much happens in the first episode on season 1. Season 2, you got to the end of episode 1 rather, and not an awful lot had actually happened in that episode. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because we're getting a feel for how the Nick and Charlie relationship's progressing, how other relationships in the show are you know, the status and how they're going. I did love the way that the episode started with Charlie arriving at school. All the little Easter eggs from season 1 that were in there, the pictures on the wall and stuff like that. I loved the reference back to season 1 where they say Imogen's an ally from her. I'm not homophobic, I'm like an ally.
She had the same cute, like, nervous, bubbly energy as from season 1.
Absolutely. The more I watch that character, the more I like her and the more I understand and relate to her. It was good to see. So Charlie arrives at the school with a big smile on his face. You know, it shows him sort of walking down the corridor and arriving at the classroom, and it felt like, oh right, okay, we're back at the beginning again. But except this time around, he's all happy and smiley because he's with a really good guy, rather than season 1 where he was kind of in the illusion that he'd got this really great guy and hasn't. So, pick a character. Excuse me.
Well, I'm gonna just say one or two of my thoughts.
Okay.
So when I was bullet point noting as I was watching,
See, I wasn't doing that because I don't anything distract me. But
took me back to my medium performance seminars where you're watching it and you're looking for little key things that stand out, why they've done it. One thing I will say is that I liked how it opened up with the day at the beach image. Like, I obviously watched it with you. I was watching it with Brett, and I liked how it opened up, but it was like it picked up where it left off from like series 1. Obviously, like new people watching it might not be like, what's the significance? But it felt like in the last reaction video that we did to the trailer, it was like I knew where I was up to watching it. I knew where we left off, so it was quite chill.
okay, pick a character.
I'm gonna pick Teo.
Good choice. Teo does seem to be having a more prominent role this season. I'm really glad we're getting this haircut. It hasn't happened yet where we're at the end of episode 2.
I was hoping we were gonna get to the hairdresser as well.
I tell you what, just as a side note, I'm noticing the parents have got much bigger roles in this season.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think I saw his mum in season 1, Charlie's mum.
Charlie's mum did very briefly appear in season 1. When Nick arrives at the house soaking wet, and she walks in and makes that arsey comment about, we're going to grandma's, at least get dressed.
Yeah.
That was the only time.
Oh,
That was the only time we met her in season 1. But we even saw Toby's mum, didn't we?
yeah. Like
And Teo's mum did briefly appear in season 1 as well, when she was all like, "Oh, leave the door open just a little bit."
It felt like we got more of a moment with the parents.
And we found out, if we're discussing Teo, we found out that his dad's died.
Yeah, which I don't think...
I don't recall being mentioned before. So with Teo, okay, so quite a lot happened with Teo in these 2 episodes, because he's finally realised that he likes Elle. I don't know about you, but I kind of got the feeling that his mum knew that.
Yeah, there was like one of the notes that I got was like his mum knows a lot. Like she can tell just by looking at his face and the way he's like in his bedroom. Like,
she knows. She
knows. Like a mum knows. So it was nice to see them like consoling each other as well. Like talking about like how Teo's dad and her, she was like like the fire or something, and she was the outspoken one, and like the dad was the sort of chill one. So it was. Yeah,
I felt like these episodes, it was almost like we didn't have like massive development in the story, but we had a lot of development in the characters. And the character history. So Teo is fun, but so okay. If we're talking about Teo, we probably should talk about Elle as well.
Yeah.
Now, I felt that Elle, it's kind of like that classic, almost soap opera story, isn't it? Where you've got one character who really likes or is in love with another character, and then by the time the other character realises that they're reciprocating the feelings, character number 1, being Elle, has kind of given up and is almost ready to kind of move on, because Elle was sort of like, I'm busy this weekend, blah blah blah.
Well, it was that awkward kiss, wasn't it, in the garden?
Yeah, well, they didn't quite kiss.
No, she got close to him and he was like.
And I think she'd kind of like, at that point, I think she was kind of like, oh, screw this.
Because didn't I keep forgetting the names.
Because she can't just sit having her heart broken forever, kind of.
No.
You know, and I think.
Because wasn't it the 2 girls were saying, oh, you should flirt with him a bit.
Yeah.
And then she did it, and it's like she was giving him a bone.
I don't think they're necessarily that helpful, those 2, to be honest, when it comes to moving relationships along. So yeah, good character development with Teo and Elle. Nice to see that Elle, because she was the like outcast character in season 1 as well, when she was at school and she went to the new school and she was really finding it hard to make friends, and it was nice to see her.
It's like the roles have sort of reversed, though, isn't it? Because like she's hopefully going to this school, and Teo's feeling a little bit not envious, but to some extent feels.
I think Teo is a very envious person,
because like
I think he's like you.
Shut up. Like
he's oh my god, he's so jealous.
I'm not.
He's such a jealous person.
I'm not. Just drink your tea. So like we clocked on.
Teo was very jealous when he saw the pictures with the.
Well, I mean,
and we have another trans character,
which I think is really good. Like this season seems to be like just
and a wheelchair user. So
yeah, like it's every.
And we've got a new Asian character.
Yeah, it feels like this series is like really like opened up more diversity.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously it's a diverse show, but it's become even more diverse.
Like it feels like everyone's got a voice in the show, and I feel like there was a news article that pops up on my phone before that I shown Brett. It was about one of the characters is asexual. We've not seen past episodes 1 and 2 when this goes out, so hopefully by then we may or may not have caught up, but we will. But there was a news article and it said about how, what's she called now? The writer?
Alice Oseman.
Yeah, like it was. I think was that what the title was? What I was showing you before about?
Yeah, I mean we don't really know much about this.
We don't really know, but it was just like one of the asexual characters.
If we don't move this along, this is going to be a very long video.
Okay.
So one more comment before we leave Teo and Elle. It kind of just came into my head. I just kind of realised Teo, he is like the one who looks after everybody else first and himself last.
Mm.
And I feel like the reason that Teo is only just kind of realising, oh, actually, I have a love life that I didn't know I had.
Mm-hmm.
He spent all of season 1 supporting Charlie and meddling in a good way. And then it's like he doesn't have to do any meddling anymore because everybody in their group is kind of okay at the minute.
Mm.
So Teo's kind of gone into this, it's like, okay, I don't need to support anybody. I'm going to actually focus on myself, which is really good, and it'll be really interesting to see that relationship grow, hopefully, over the rest of the season.
I like the bit towards. Are we allowed to talk about the end?
Yeah.
Like, I like how towards the end, how it opened up with Charlie being like, I have a boyfriend, and then they're all like, yeah, we know. And then towards the end, it's like, we go back to the place where they're all sort of chilling in the shop, getting the sweets and stuff. Like how he, like it's like it mirrored the opening a little bit, like how he goes back the next whatever day and he's like, I need your help or something.
Yeah.
It's like he consoled in them to help him. So it's like he's the one who needs a little bit of help. Whereas
Yeah, absolutely.
Series 1, he
yeah.
seems to be the one taking other people's problems on.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, so let's move on. Let's do Imogen next.
Yeah.
Imogen, I feel like I want to scream at you through the screen. I mean, I've known people in the past, women in the past, who have generally been very attracted to gay and bisexual men, myself included. It never ends well. And Nick is kind of in this conundrum now where he wants to tell Imogen what Ben has done. He wants to warn Imogen that Ben might be effectively using her as a way of still exploring his sexuality, but at the same time he doesn't want to be that person that Ben was in season 1, who would be threatening to out people or would out somebody. I mean, that's an unwritten rule in the community that you don't do that. So, and then I loved how Imogen already knew.
Yeah, it's like
that Charlie and Nick were a thing.
Well, like they sat down and they're having the snacks and stuff. It's like it was because Brett said like, "Is she not clocked on already?" And it's like it was nice when they went upstairs that she just knew and she just said it, and her reaction wasn't negative or anything.
No, and she was.
Really
I think
nice.
she was kind of saying from the audience, if the audience is me, she was kind of saying what the audience was thinking, because, like, I was, at that point I was like, well, how on earth can Imogen not realise when, especially considering the sports day thing. That is one little kind of plot hole I feel that this show's got, because sports day, he ditches the rugby game, he approaches Charlie, takes his hand, they go hand in hand into the school. I'm not really seeing how people don't know about Nick at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, I realise for the plot, and we're gonna talk about Nick and Charlie and the whole coming out thing in a minute. I realise for the plot that they need that, but I kind of like the whole school saw that. So how do they not? How do they not? No. But anyway, let's talk about Ben. Now we're gonna have to make the most of Ben, because this is his final season. I mean, we don't know obviously how many seasons that Heartstopper is going to have in total. It's been renewed through to season 3. I mean, there are enough books for there to be a 4th or a 5th season.
I heard the news the other day that Ben isn't coming back for series 3.
No, he isn't. No, so we've got to make the most of him, even though we don't necessarily like him as a
He's just got that face, though. Like when we were watching it,
this is
like,
no no detriment to Bash, by the way.
Yeah.
Fantastic actor.
It's like he plays.
Love Sebastian Croft.
Well, again, like the fact that he conveys that in his performance is like I did medium performance at uni, so I kind of have a bit of a, I did my degree there. Basically, what we used to talk about as well, like after you watch each other's performances, was if you can convey that in your character, which he does so well. Like I watch it and I'm like, oh god, he's like.
Do you know what I would have loved to have seen though? And it was kind of a shame that it's been brushed past, but I suppose there's only so much time. But it would have been fantastic to have seen a bit of Ben's like home life and
because it feels like that got glossed over.
A bit more of an explanation of why he's the way he is. Is he like we've seen sort of Nick's homophobic brother now. It would have been nice like if we'd seen something going on in Ben's personal life, and of course this might be to come, I don't know, but if we'd seen something go on in Ben's personal life, you've done it without the strainer, haven't you? He's we're drinking loose leaf tea and he's not used the strainer, so he's gonna have some tea leaves in his mouth at some point.
God, it was at that moment.
He's had worse things in there.
What?
Nothing, dear. What was I talking about?
Ben's home life.
But yeah, I mean, I would have liked to have seen how the whole Benajin thing came about.
Benajin.
Ben and Imogen.
Alright, Benajin, yeah.
I would have liked to have seen how that came about rather than just a whiplash the next episode they've sat sort of embracing outside the schoolyard. But anyway, it would be really nice to get to know Ben a lot better, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen because he's got limited appearances in this season from what I've read, and then he's done.
But like we're saying, like when we're watching it, you can tell like he knows his role so well. Like it's like the way he makes you feel when you see him near Charlie or Nick. It's like you're not sure if he's enjoying it, or like the bit where they're in their exam hall and he sits next to him and he's like, so like don't speak to me. Like everyone's been through that throughout high school, college or uni, where like you put with a partner that you really don't want to speak to and you're like, oh god. And it's just like the whole thing about how he was comparing himself to what they're putting Charlie through, and it's like saying, oh well, you're just like me by comparison or something.
Well, that's gaslighting, isn't it? That's what that type of person does.
Yeah.
The thing is, Ben, I feel like Ben is jealous because Nick is coming to terms with his sexuality
and
he's happy with it and he's content, whereas Ben obviously isn't.
Hiding, isn't he?
And he's like, oh, you're just like me, because he wants him to be just like him because he doesn't want to be the only person who's struggling with his sexuality, which is kind of understandable. Okay, so I think we can brush past. I don't think there's really much to say about Tara and Darcy because they haven't really done anything yet.
They're just cute. Like they were being really cute.
They're cute, but they haven't really done anything yet. I mean, I know that they have got storyline coming up because we saw that on the preview.
Yeah.
But so we'll probably talk about them in a future video. Should this video?
If you enjoy this sort of content, let us know below and just tell us who your favourite.
We'll review the other episodes if we do get views on this one. I should have said at the beginning, thank you so much for the overwhelming response to the trailer reaction video.
We were shocked.
So there's not really much. But Toby hasn't really done anything yet. We know he's got story coming up, but all he's done is sit and read. So there's not really much to say about him.
He's a cute bookworm, though.
He is, but he hasn't done anything. The new teacher. What do we think of him?
Hugh Scarra.
See, in the trailer, I kind of got vibes that him and Mr. What's his name were like
sort of flirting together.
But I don't know.
We're not sure yet.
Okay. He just comes across as very stern. Maybe he's a dom.
Like you could like when he slammed the ruler down. I had a year 4 teacher who used to do that, and we all used to like slam the books on the desk and be like, oh god, what are you doing? Don't.
To be honest with you, it's interesting to watch this with you because, like, I'm 40 and Anthony's 24, and it's a lot longer ago for me that I was at school. So, like for you, it's not, it's like 8 years.
Oh, I just get trauma.
For me, it's 24 years. So like I kind of struggle to just think back to school.
I was a good boy and didn't end up in isolation, and I never had my phone out.
No,
I was like,
I'm not sure. Well, we didn't even have phones when I was at school, so it wasn't an issue. So then we had the whole parents thing, the parents' evening, didn't we?
Yeah.
Not really a lot to say about that.
They were proper like, I mean, you could tell like how Charlie's very excited about his relationship, and how like the teachers were like, you need to focus on your work, which again is a valid point.
Is that, are we on Nick and Charlie now then?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We've jumped.
Okay, no, that's fine. That was a perfect segue. So Nick and Charlie, right? So we've got the whole. It's so cute to see they're in that can't keep their hands off each other phase, which we're still in. And we never will.
Yeah, we're still in the honeymoon phase.
We'll always be in the honeymoon phase. So like, nearly 18 months in, by the way. So we got all this cuteness, all this can't keep their hands off each other, wonderful, everything's great.
When he goes to the park and is that happy? He puts him on his Instagram.
Oh, do you know what? The whole thing's just adorable.
They're adorable.
The thing is, watching season 2 today, the first 2 episodes, it's like seeing an old friend that you've not seen for ages.
Yeah, like the whole we've just been on holiday. And now we're back.
Do you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how shit of a day I'm having. This show always makes me smile, and I smile all the way through watching it. I love it.
The music as well, and like I liked how when they were sat down, and like how every character, like one note I did make about the visuals in relation to what we're talking about is how like the rainbows and the electricity and the flowers, like that animation segment, it felt like through episodes 1 to 2, it's like the spark got bigger. Like there was the bit with the rainbow sort of background as he goes into that comic book sort of background thing, as he's happy, and it's like all the positive colours. Like one note I will say, because again did this in film studies, I clocked on that.
Did you know he
shut up?
Did you know he
shut
studied
up? Shut up!
performance
Shut
and media?
up! Shut up! Osh.
What did you mention?
Osh. Like one thing I will say is, did anyone notice the colours of his t-shirt towards the beginning? Like Nick's t-shirts were like bright colours. Like, this is so like writing an essay. Like the colours were vibrant. Even the logo for episode 1 was in bright yellow. So again,
don't forget though, they do the yellow blue thing, don't they? Because it's like the gay colours, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I know that. Yeah. It just felt like the costume designers for episode 1 catching back up with Nick again. It's like they shown a sign of confidence throughout him coming out and enjoying his sexuality, and I just thought that was really cute. How like the design choice as well. Like, yeah, it was adorable. I think that was really well done. Well done.
So let's talk about the whole. We're going to talk about the coming out thing last, but what I wanted to just talk about the parents and Nick's older brother. So I'm not.
Brother.
Do you know what? I'm not finding Charlie's dad to be quite as supportive and nice as he seemed in season 1. But
God, it feels like ages.
I'm gonna cut them some slack though, because this. I cringed at the hanky panky thing, just like Tori did. I hope we see more of Tori this season as well. We seem to be, but she's a.
She reminds me.
She's a dark horse. That she doesn't. Yeah. You don't really get much of her personality.
She's like the odd side comment of what maybe, you know, in like in like your family where, I don't know, like maybe she seems supportive of him, but like,
oh, she's very supportive.
Yeah, she's.
I just don't feel like we get any storyline of her own. But then again, there's so much time and so many
We've got
characters.
series 2 to watch, and we've got series 3 to come, so you never know. He's not read the books, as he said in the reaction
I have
video.
not read the books.
So no
Speaking of the books, was Toby reading an Alice Oseman book? I couldn't quite tell in those scenes.
Oh, he was saying all the way through.
Anyway, so let's crack on, because as I say, this video's never going to end I could talk about it all night. But so the Nick and Charlie thing.
Do part 2.
So then, okay, so the parents, Charlie's parents, to be fair to them, okay, he's falling behind with his studies. They see Nick as the reason. This isn't necessarily homophobia. You know,
no, he just wants them to focus on the studies.
Yeah, would they have the same issue with the girl staying over? You know, it did feel a bit harsh.
I mean, like the way, like he said, all right, the door's always going to be open. I don't know if he was like saying it in a we need to focus on your studies sort of way, but the way.
But what I'm saying is they banned him from staying over, didn't they?
And it felt a bit like what so soon, just as he's just said so confidently and so innocently to his mother and father, he's my boyfriend.
Yeah, and I think that's the point, isn't it? He told them that he was his boyfriend, and they didn't really respond favourably.
Yeah,
and then that was followed. Yeah, that was followed by the whole "he's not staying over," blah blah blah. There was no
banned your ground.
You know, if you compare that to Nick's coming out scene.
Yeah, his mum's so overjoyed. And happy.
She's like, "Oh, Charlie's a lovely guy," blah blah blah. You know. Anyway, so we've got that. It's very heavily focused around Nick coming out at the minute. So I thought with that, it would be interesting to have a conversation where we sort of compare this to our own experiences of coming out, and especially since, you know, we do have an age gap in our relationship, and that does make a big difference, because obviously it was the back end of the 90s, the big, you know, sort of 2000 when I was in that position. It was much more recently rather for Anthony. So how was your coming out
me
experience?
First.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, everyone sort of knew, but like I didn't.
Now I don't like that. I don't like this whole "oh, I knew before you." I've never liked that.
Like,
you know,
that's what
you might not be 100% sure, but if you're not sure, then they're not sure. And I've never liked this whole people saying to you, "well, I knew before you did."
Like
no,
a lot
didn't.
of people
don't profess to know me better than I know myself.
Yeah, like some people, like that's how people have said it to me before. That's how.
But you're pansexual. You're not actually gay.
Yeah,
you know,
pansexual.
So people assuming that you're gay. I mean, and that's just like Nick's brother, who was like, you're gay. You're not.
That's
gay,
That's a good way. Like I did like how they did that, and like he's like, no, but you know, there's this thing called bisexuality. You know, like from season 1 when he's explaining it to his mum. Well, like whenever there's been 1 or 2 times where people just go, yeah, but you're gay though, aren't you? And it's like, well, no. Like, I didn't know what pansexuality was until I got to Salford University. Met my lovely co-writer.
Did you know he studied being?
Shut up! They were an amazing university, you should go. Not plugging them, not paying me to say that.
Okay, crack on.
Yeah, anyway. So, when I met my friend Vic, like, I didn't know what pansexuality was. I knew a little bit about it from my friend Jessie, because they're pansexual. But, like, in my case, I didn't like. I've always been like attracted to personality, and I thought it was nice, you know. That I mean, you never know. There could be pansexual characters.
There aren't really pansexual. I don't know. Are there any pansexuals on TV? I don't know. I can't recall.
I'm not. I mean, I bet there is. It's just like the minute you say, "Oh, you're pansexual," everyone just thinks that I like Russell Hobbs and.
Anyway, so tell us about how your parents, friends, and sibling reacted very quickly.
My sister was happy. She was like, we can do your nails and we can go out, look at men. So that was nice. Never done that. My mum was just, she was worried, but she's always been very, very supportive of like my drama and all the performing, and she cosplays. Not many mums go to Comic Con and cosplay with their son and get all flamboyantly done up. So my mum was happy. My dad genuinely just didn't care. He was just so he just was like,
well, it didn't affect the bills.
It didn't affect the bills. My dad was just wants me to be happy, and I'm happy. And what was it? The bit of that? Friends. Well,
At what age was this?
I didn't come out until I got to university. That's when I felt comfortable to decide. Yeah, I identify as. First, I thought I was bisexual, and then when I met Vic and Vic told me about like pansexuality and the meaning behind it, I really felt that's me. Like, and because I like good personalities, so you know, and if you've got,
Andy has one.
yeah, and so yeah, like that was sort of my experience. I mean, like through high school, you know, you do get to you know, it's nice to watch Heartstopper and go, I've been through that. I can relate to that. Absolutely. You know, and they just tackle it in such a really nice way. Like you there's always been the supportive teacher, Miss Ahern and Miss you, the drama teacher. Literally like through college and through uni as well, like my tutors, a lot of people, like it was positive, but again, you know, there's the bullying, which again I feel they do really well, like when they come on the rugby team, and you can see the beef that's still happening between them. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say, in terms of like the friends and stuff.
So overall, your experience was quite positive.
It was positive. I mean, like my best friend Rachel, like she was just ecstatic, and she's pansexual as well. So you know, we're all in the Russell.
Well, it's interesting you say that, and that can be a natural segue to me discussing what it was like for me. So it's funny that most of my friends at school were gay, but none of us ever actually said we were gay. It's funny how you migrate towards those people. So it's interesting that your bestie was pansexual.
She didn't know she was pansexual.
Yeah,
so
but exactly.
So,
that's what I'm saying.
Raw.
I mean, you know, so yeah. I mean, my experience was somewhat different. It was the 90s. We were under Section 28. It was ghastly. I was severely bullied. I wasn't out, but clearly people could see something in me that leaned towards me being different. I mean, at that time, you know, I'd never heard of pansexuality, but I'd probably heard of bisexuality, I think.
Was pansexuality a thing back then?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, it's not that it's not that was it a thing, it's that was it a known thing, isn't it? You know, I'd never heard of it. You know, there was none of this non-binary or anything like that. So, school was quite frankly awful. Nobody would have ever dared or dreamed of coming out. I can still vividly remember my teacher telling us in sex education we're not allowed to discuss anything to do with homosexuality. I can remember that because, thank you, Margaret Thatcher, for your ignorance in thinking that teaching us about homosexuality is going to make us gay. I'm not sure why you see that as a bad thing anyway, but you know, you clearly didn't know what the hell you were talking about, because you're either gay or you're not.
Like most politicians. But
anyway, and I mean the madness in America at the minute. But anyway, I could go on all that. So school, I didn't really come out to anybody at school, although interestingly I did sort of later on realise that some of the people I'd gone to school with were gay, and I did reconnect, which we won't really get into. Parents, family, well, it wasn't the easiest. My situation with my brother wasn't really the same as Nick's exactly, but we definitely had issues relating to mine and his sexuality, which I don't want to get into really, because I think if he saw this video it would probably be quite upsetting for him. My parents, we didn't have the easiest of time with it. It was the elephant in the room for a very long time. My dad would make very inappropriate comments about gay people. My mum also, my brother was clearly struggling with his sexuality and was obviously internalised homophobic, and there were lots of constant anti-gay innuendo, and it wasn't necessarily nasty, but as a teenager who was struggling with my sexuality, the fact that, you know, hearing all this constant negativity about gay people and in them being ridiculed all the time was not the best of environments to grow up in, both at home and at school. I mean, you know, my mum is very supportive now. She does. I feel like she kind of tries to like rewrite history, but you know, we've let that go. In terms of coming out, I can't really comment, because unfortunately I never got to come out because I was outed before I was ready. And if the person who did that is watching this video, you still haven't apologised, and you still owe me an apology. But it wasn't a good time at all. I only really started to understand it when programs like Queer as Folk started, which was when I was 17, and that's when I started to get a bit of an understanding of my sexuality. But even then, it was like it was a program about men going around having sex with other men, and that pretty much was what their life revolved around, which wasn't really what I wanted from my life, you know. So it wasn't really until I was in my 20s that I had the confidence to be an openly gay man and not feel ashamed of it. And I think people of my generation, we kind of we almost had a delay in our lives getting going because of that. So that was our sort of coming out experiences. So some sort of similarities, I think, some slight similarities, definitely conflict in my family over it, yeah, I can kind of relate a little bit to what Nick's going through at the moment. I think Charlie is of the opinion that he can protect Nick and he can shelter him from everything when he can't.
Like,
you know.
I
think I try and do that with you, not in relation to coming out, but I think I try to look after you a bit, probably maybe a bit too much. And I think I've probably done that with everybody. I mean, don't get me wrong with regards to my family. I mean, I think my mother loved my ex-husband more than she loved me. But like, I think Charlie
wants to be the shield.
Yeah, I think he's the one. He's done it, and
he's lived it, and he doesn't want him to go through that experience. So it came across beautifully on screen.
Absolutely. So overall, I've
just got one or two.
Okay, go on then. By the way, Oscar loved seeing Nelly on the screen, didn't you?
Started barking. Got a fan there, Nelly. So one thing I want to say is, I don't know if anyone's clocked this looking at Charlie, but the actor, right, my mum used to absolutely love this programme, and I cried watching it as well. He reminds me of Colin Morgan. He looks like the dude from Merlin. And everyone would bring
Joe Locke?
Yeah, he looks like Merlin. He's got the cute face as well. Like,
well, he's definitely got a cute face. Colin God, the penultimate scene on episode 2 with Nick. Oh. Coming over all unnecessary. That's one thing about this season. I don't know if I'm just imagining it, but Nick seems to have grown up a lot,
Really tall,
and nobody else has.
big man.
And it's supposed to be the next day, but
He's
I mean,
just shot up a few inches.
there's nothing we can do about it. Carry on.
But yeah, like,
No, he's always been tall actually, because Charlie used to hard settle for someone tall. Didn't
so
he?
it's not like Robert Downey Jr. standing on a box playing Iron Man. That's yeah.
Okay, move on.
But yeah, like, I don't know, like, I like. There was. I've put a note here, something about bisexual stereotyping, and I'm not sure what that note's from. I think it was.
Is it relating to Nick's brother?
I think it was, yeah, like when he's trying to explain to him being bisexual, and then his brother's just like, yeah, but if you're not going to say you're gay, then what's the point? You know, act gay, and it's like, you know, and it's like, well, no, because you're then saying it's like.
I have a feeling that if Nick's brother David was living in America, he'd vote for Trump.
It was, I mean, like the bit where we heard the voice note and you could see this, like, the grey, cartoony monster sort of brother.
I wonder if we're gonna meet Nick's dad, because we got it.
Oh God!
It was implied that he wasn't going to
no.
be supportive, wasn't it?
No, that's not what we need. There was. I don't want to say this in like. Just to define his brother, but there was. It was a bit like, oh, the lad, you know, like. Little bit toxic towards, like, I think the way it came out as well, when he was like, so, like, he wanted to know who Charlie was, and then he starts interrogating him in the bedroom, and then you could see the look of horror when he's got the cups of tea and he just wants to get upstairs.
I get the feeling from Nick's brother that he feels like he's the man of the house, because I mean it would. I mean I'm assuming that it's a broken home, because. You know, we haven't seen Nick's dad, and there was a comment made, does dad know? You know, so...
The look of fear in his eyes when he said that as well, bloody hell.
And I think David sees himself as the man of the house, doesn't he?
Like,
and his whole attitude, not just in relation to his sexuality, his whole attitude in general, like, oh, if you've got a girlfriend, I'll have to approve her, that
yeah,
kind
like,
of thing.
why... Yeah, like, I think that's why I put he was being really cold. Oh, no, being cold... That was when Charlie's always cold, because I'm always cold.
Oh yeah, we noticed a new similarity between...
Yeah, I'm always cold.
I mean, today is August the 5th, and he's been complaining he's cold all day.
It's
I mean,
England.
okay, it's a rainy day in Britain, but it's not cold.
It's cold.
I think we need to wrap this video.
Sorry,
it's gone on a long
we
time.
could go on, but
we
honestly...
could, but we're not going to. Thank you for watching. We'd love to read your comments about what you thought of this video, what you thought of episodes 1 and 2, what were your favourite scenes, who were your favourite characters, any observations that you've made, anything you agree or disagree with. And if this video does well and people engage with it and like it, we will do reviews for the remaining 6 episodes as well. We're planning to watch them in chunks of 2, so we'll do a
little video. If
this video is popular and people like it, we will have a chat, which probably won't go on as long as this one.
Yeah, we just wanted to get all our like thoughts and you know.
Yeah, we'll chat about episodes 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8 in separate videos if there is a demand. So again, thanks for watching.
Thanks
for
so
supporting
much.
the channel. Please like, subscribe, comment,
share,
and we'll see you soon.
See you soon.